Hello, everybody. This is Sheri Flasch with the Esthetician Connection. Thank you so much for coming into our Zoom Room webinar with Becky Kuehn and Oncology Spa Solutions. They are flooding in, so I'm super happy about that. I want to welcome everybody to the Zoom Room webinar. Couple things to go over first, and then we're going to hand this over to Becky. First thing is, as you know, we always do a fun giveaway on the Zoom Room education, and today is absolutely no different. You're going to love today's webinar. She's going to talk about the importance of estheticians with oncology spa services and a little bit about the program that she offers. We're also going to have a special promotion for you guys that's going to blow your mind. It's that good. But the giveaway that we're having is going to be, and I was learning about this right before we went live. It is the amazing olive oil, and it's Tamano oil, which Becky was telling me it's from a fruit, right? And they take the seed and they ground it up and it becomes an oil and it's pure. What's really nice about this is you can spot treat with this anywhere that you need healing, or, you know, I was just sitting here putting it on like some hangnails to try to heal like some of my cuticles and things like that. Can also be used for acne. So this is a product that has a $24 wholesale value, and it is the Olive Tamano oil. 3 of you are going to win this full size oil, and the way that you enter is take a photo of you taking this class and post it on the Esthetician Connection Facebook group page, and make sure you use the hashtag EC Loves Oncology Spa Solutions. And we're going to put that in the chat so you know exactly what the hashtag is. That's how we can go ahead and look for the entries. And 3 of you are going to win the Olive Tamano oil. So the hashtag to use is EC Loves Oncology Spa Solutions. And all you have to do is just snap a pic of you taking this class, share anything you want, how much fun you're having, if you're enjoying it, if you're planning on taking the class, whatever you want, post it on the EC Facebook group page with the photo and the hashtag EC Loves Oncology Spa Solutions, and we'll pick 3 winners. So I can see we are already hundreds into our people coming in. I know we have a really high registration on this, guys, so we're making sure we give everybody time to get in. I want to thank everybody for attending these EC Zoom Room webinars. We love bringing them to you, and we've got some of the best educators that we could possibly find doing these presentations for you, and Becky is absolutely no exception. Becky, I want to first and foremost thank you so much for coming and sharing with the EC members, and welcome you to our Zoom room. And then maybe if you could share a little bit about who you are and what you do with them.
Yay! I'm so excited to be here. So thank you so much for inviting me. A lot of excitement around this. I've had people emailing me going, I can't wait to see you on Thursday at the EC. So thank you for doing these. I know that right now we're kind of all in a little bit low, right? What will business be like? What are we doing now? You know, Sheri, you and I were talking at the beginning of, you know, what are we doing in our quarantine time? Working, relaxed. I tease because we're doing weekly webinars too, and I always say, I'm checking in with you guys. Are you wearing pants today? Did you put bra on? How long has it been since you put makeup on? It's been kind of nice. I don't know about you, but I've been enjoying time off. A little bit about Tamano, just so that get a bit more clarification. So this is an oil that can actually increase cell turnover rate in healthy cells, and it is amazing. That's why we named that. Plus, nobody could remember how to say Tamano, so amazing oil. And it's a spot treatment, okay? It's made to be a spot treatment only. And the things that it can help with are, I mean, what we use it for in oncology are incisions and scars to help them heal quicker, take the red out, reduce the lift, just make it nice and smooth and soft. It really, really makes them heal much, much faster. But you can also use it on sunburns. You can use it on acne. You can use it on scars. And a fun one that we've been some testing with is using it on stretch marks. It actually helps with that as well. So you got a little bit of a massage that you do with it, but you spot treatment with it. And it's a fantastic product. You guys are going to love it. Good luck.
3 of you are getting this, guys, so make sure you do not forget to enter. So post a pic of you watching this webinar, post it on the EC Facebook page, use the hashtag that EC loves oncology spa solutions, and you're going to be entered to win one of 3 of these. So Becky, we are well into the hundreds of participants already joined. So I'm going to go ahead and hand this over to you, and you'll have the full screen.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited to be able to be here and share my heart and my passion. Some people who are going to be on this know me and know how excited I get about for cancer patients and everything to do with oncology. So you're going to get to hear that today, and I'm looking forward to being able to share with you some of the details of maybe if you're not oncology trained, why you might want to consider it. And then we're going to talk about how to get on to the class and get training and what it's going to do for you. We have a really, really good special, and I don't run this with anybody but the EC. So you're going to get with the special at $5.99. It's normally $997. You're getting a full online course, which is really unlike, and I'm not just saying that because it's mine, but it's really unlike any online course. I hear it all the time from people who take it. They go, wow, I'm so surprised. It's not what I was expecting at all. So it's a live class, recorded, it's very interactive. You get to feel like you're sitting right in the classroom, and you get to watch it anytime you want, log in, log out. Didn't hear what I said, you can pause it, rewind it, and listen to me again. So you get the full online course, you get everything. You don't have to make copies of anything. I give you a box. So you're gonna get the training manual, the note. I even put in there a pen and a highlighter, just in case. You will have all the forms we talk about will be in that manual so that you don't have to create. You start with that and maybe edit them and customize them to match what you're doing. You also get a piece of equipment, an LED that's valued at $150. You get a full-size low skin line 3-piece skincare set, and you get samples from all of the approved products that are mission partners with the training. So you really get a lot of things in that $5.99. You have as much time as you need to take the course, but I always try to encourage you that if you really want to learn it, within a shorter time frame, because you'll retain the information a lot better and you'll actually get it done. I was telling Sheri that some of the people that had bought a special with the EC in 2018, I still have some that haven't taken the course yet. And I'm reaching out saying, hey guys, if you have the time, sign up, you got it, you already paid for it, come and enjoy it. So it's one of those things that you can do at your own pace. I know I'm looking forward to questions because you guys are going to have questions, but I'm going to give you a little overview today of what does it even mean to be oncology trained? What does that mean? We have this conversation a lot because there is no such thing as an oncology esthetician, just FYI. Okay, so until our country recognizes that as a classification, we don't get to call ourselves an oncology esthetician, but we can say we are a licensed esthetician and we are oncology trained. So what does that mean? And why would you want to do it? What difference does it make to your practice? What difference does it make to your clients? So we'll kind of talk about some of those things and then go into a little bit of detail too about what makes this client different than other clients that you see on a regular basis. And some of you can probably identify either you've gone through cancer yourself, you have a family member or friend that has gone through cancer, or maybe you have clients right now that are going through cancer. So I'm sad to report that cancer keeps going up every year by about 50,000 new cases in the US. So we haven't really figured out how to prevent it yet. The good news is the death rate is going down, so they figured out how to at least help with that, but we still have a lot of it. So by you being trained, you would be able to help that client, not only that client, but their whole circle of influence, which when you're working with a cancer patient, you do a really great job with that cancer patient in your treatment room. They're going to tell their family, their friends, they're going to tell their medical team, and all of those people will get to learn who you are, what you do, and those are opportunities to have new clients as well. So it's a great way to really expand your client base, as well as doing something really wonderful for somebody who needs us really, I say the most when they're going through that treatment. So it looks like we're getting about 222 on board. Hello, everybody. I don't know, people coming from outside the US or mostly the US. You got that? Can't wait to hear. Hello, hello. It'd be kind of fun. I know that in some of the webinars we can do a poll and we can find out who has been oncology trained. I wonder how many people on the call have already had oncology training, or if this is just something that you've been thinking about, what it is. We got Texas, New York, Michigan, Nebraska, South Carolina, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, Arizona. Wow, cool. So all the time zones too. I love it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Looks like we have some students too. And people that have oncology already. Love it. Love, love, love it. This is a really wonderful thing that EC is doing, not just for me, but for you, with the education that they're offering right now. If I could ask you to raise your hand, who's bored during this quarantine? Or who has been using this time to really increase knowledge base and learn some new skills? You know, I think this is a great opportunity for us all to reset our business plans, to really take a look at and reevaluate what we're doing in the treatment room, adding new things. I know I actually looked at my equipment tray the other day and went, you know what, I haven't used this in a long time, or I don't even know how to use this one because I've had it so long and I don't know if I ever used it, bought it at a show. You guys probably have a couple of things like that too. And that was kind of fun. Look it up, reach out, learn how to use a new tool. Yes, okay, so somebody just said, curious about online training. So, you know, I will just share with you that it literally took me 2 years to put this course online because I'm an esthetician. I'm a touchy, not a techie. And I really thought that, I don't know if you can teach this online. However, we've had it now for 2 years, revising it and updating the manual and all the training because things change very fast in the medical world. And what I have found is not only can you learn this online, the people who've taken it online versus in a live class actually retain the information a lot better than sitting in a class, which was really kind of surprising to me. So yes, you can. One of the things that makes our class unique is that included in the cost that you pay for the course, you get to attend a full day of hands-on anywhere in the US that we have a live class. And typically we have about, I'm going to say 60 to 80 classes a year live. COVID kind of changed that. And so I'm not really sure when we're going to be able to roll out live classes again, but we're working on it and I'm just waiting to see, probably at the end of summer. But you have 1 year to pop into a live class and kind of refresh and get the hands-on portion of it if that's something that's really important to you. So it's included in the class if you need it. Still rolling in. Webinars are fun, aren't they? Have you guys been seeing a lot of webinars and learning a lot of new things in the last week or 2 or now 5? It's hard to believe how fast that time frame has gone. And the way I can really kind of gauge it is that we have done weekly webinars since the quarantine started, and we're on our 6th one tomorrow. And so I kind of can, it helps me remember what day it is, what week it is in the quarantine. Yes, so many webinars. That's the thing, a lot to choose from.
Hey, Becky,
Yes.
Amber here. Go ahead and start your presentation, and we're going to send an email out to all of the people who registered. So if they aren't here yet, they're going to get a link to the video later.
Okay, perfect. do I have the ability to share that screen back?
Yes.
I thought it was already on there. Can you not see it? Sorry, I'm not
No, it's not
techie.
showing up yet.
Okay, here we go. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Yay. Okay, so, you know, it was kind of an interesting conversation when Sheri and I were talking, and we were talking about, you know, what is an oncology-trained esthetician? Why do they matter? Is it important? Who does it matter to? And, you know, there's two people that it matters to, and really I should have moved that the other way around, because the cancer patient is the most important. But it also matters to doctors, and I'll tell you why. So I've been doing this for about 13 years, and I work with several hospitals, 2 right here locally. And the doctors, once they figure out what we do, we are really an essential to them. And I've even had some of the hospitals across the US not cut out these services because they are that essential. Okay, so what we're going to cover today is quite a few things, actually. I want to really give you a broad overview of what being oncology trained is, why it matters. So what does it mean? What will you learn if you take an oncology training? How an oncology trained esthetician can safely help cancer patients when they're going through cancer treatments, the importance of ingredients. And I'm sure you've heard this before. This isn't a new thing, although when we first started this, nobody really cared about it that much 13 years ago. Now everybody cares about what's in their products. Identifying common skin conditions associated with cancer treatments, so that you'll be able to see a little bit of what I'm talking about and what you need to learn so that you can help them with those. So, little introduction on me. I am a cancer survivor. I had cancer when I was 18 years old. So you can do the math there. And, you know, I just turned 60 last year. And so it's been a long time for me, and I'm very blessed because I made it through that time period in my life and decided to take that experience and turn it into something that could be helpful to somebody else going through that. So I kind of made that my goal. It took me a while to get there, but I've been doing it now for the last 13 years, and I would never turn back. I love it that much. I am a cosmetologist because back in the day, when I went to beauty school, that's all they had. You were a cosmetologist, and you got to learn a little bit of everything. But during that, I really realized how much I loved the skin more than anything else. So I actually even went back to an aesthetics school about probably about 15 years ago now, and relearned everything from a straight out aesthetics school, right? So then I knew what I was doing. I have created several hospital programs that started with the 2 that I work with right here that I've had for almost 15 years now. And I created the training program, and I'm the author and creator of what I call life-changing aesthetics. Because if you've ever worked with a cancer patient, and you even sometimes I hear this, well, I actually hear it a lot from people who take the class, that it was life-changing to them because make you think a little bit different about things. So something that we do on a regular basis, working with a client, doing a facial, right? What makes that different, and why is it so important when you're working with a cancer patient? All I can say is you have to do it one time to see, you know. And about, makes me cry. About 2 months ago, right before this started, I got a cancer patient at the hospital. And it had been a while since I'd been able to go in. I've got estheticians who work at the locations now, and I only go in a couple times a month. And I hadn't been in a while because of travel schedule. And I remember being so happy being in my happy place. And this little cancer patient was on the bed, the facial bed, and all I did was touch her, and the tears just started rolling. And I knew what was happening, but I said, is everything okay? And can I make you more comfortable? And she just said, she couldn't talk. She just said, no, I'm just so happy that I'm here, and I'm grateful for you. So it's that kind of thing can make such a difference when you're working with a cancer patient. I know our healthy clients appreciate us too, but a cancer patient's in a whole different place. And when we touch them, just even touch them, it can bring tears to them. So what does oncology trained mean? Let's go through that for a minute. I'm going to tell you that it's taking everything you already have, So your aesthetics, gifts, talents, and skills, and raising it to a whole different level. We're going to teach some new skills. So you're going to learn some new modalities, some new ways of doing things, including being mindful and slowing down when you're with this client. You will find the joy that comes when you serve others. And I love that the most. You will get a deeper satisfaction to everything that you do. I remember in the beginning of this class, I would get a lot of students that would come. They were older ladies, okay? I am second career or in the latter part of their working life. And they all made the decision to be an esthetician because they wanted to make a difference in the world. And you know what? That's what our profession can do. Sometimes I think we take that for granted. And again, change lives. So what do we cover? So I'm just kind of briefly go through. It's a 12-hour course. It's 24 hours total, but we kind of crammed that into 12 hours online. 3 days if you take it live. We'll go over the basics of cancer. Why? Because you need to know what it is when you're working with a client who has it, right? Because there's nothing like when somebody talks to you about something, know what they're talking about. Doesn't that feel so much better than if you go, I don't know what you're talking about and I don't know what to do, including medical terminology. I think it's really important that if you're going to work with this client, you know and have heard and understand what some of the medical technology is. So not only for them, because speaking that language, if you can understand it, there's going to be a quicker trust level between them. But this is really important when working with medical people. So doctors, nurses, nurse navigators, those people, if you use their medical terms, they have a higher level of trust in what you're doing, and it'll make it easier for them to refer their patients to you, okay? What are the different types of cancer treatments that are used here in the US? And then what type of skin conditions can be caused by those treatments? And then how do we help, okay? So it's kind of basic, but it goes in deep. The importance of ingredients, really important with this client on several levels. They have a suppressed immune system, a heightened sense of smell. Okay, so they're going to be very sensitive to everything, and even products and lines that they used before, they cannot use while they're in cancer treatments. Okay, so you're going to need to know that. And then what questions should we be asking every client? And you know, in the beginning, we have a CAT form, consult, analyze, treat, come up with a treatment plan custom for that particular client. And you know, it really should be questions that we ask every client that comes into us. Shouldn't every treatment be a custom treatment based on that client's needs? And you know, that's one of the things that I've seen with the students that have taken this class. They said, not only did they learn how to work with cancer patients, but it made them a better esthetician because they started being more mindful and asking these questions and really customizing treatments instead of doing cookie cutter, right, treatments for everybody. The mind and the spirit, or the psychosocial aspect. This client is going through some pretty traumatic things, and we need to know and understand that as well. And that means including, how do you talk to this person? What do you say? What's okay to say? What shouldn't you say? All of those types of things. And then if this is something that you've taken and you're like, you know what, this really speaks to me, I want to reach out to my local community. How do I market myself? Okay, so we go through that as well. You will learn how to do that. So how can we help? What can we do as estheticians when we're dealing with situations or a skin situation like the one in the picture right here? That is a radiation dermatitis client who was experiencing radiation dermatitis, and as you can tell by looking at that picture, very uncomfortable. That is in my scope or out of my scope? Take a guess. It's not in my scope, but I should know about it, and I should know how to educate her or him on how to care for their skin when they're going through this. So one of the things, and I'm going to use some terms that I used when I was actually training doctors and nurses at hospital, and that is EBP, Evidence-Based Practices. This is something that the medical team uses all the time. And if you say that you're going to do anything with their client, they're going to ask you, or their patient, they're going to say, is it evidence-based practice? You need to know that. Is it? There's a lot of studies that are done, and they're medical studies that will talk about doing things to skin way different than we learned as estheticians. And I'll go through those in a minute. But we need to know and understand what those evidence-based practices are, so that when we're talking to a medical staff, we can tell them we're familiar with the evidence-based practice of, and I'll just use an example, acid washing when somebody has cirrhosis, okay? By saying that to them, they know that you know your stuff, okay? And that's really important. That will include patient safety, how do you get the results, and quality of life. That's QOL, quality of life. That's one thing that I have found that as an esthetician, we can really help with the most, because you know what? Feeling good when you are sick has a lot of studies to show that that actually helps that person feel better and get better quicker, right? And that's something we do every day. So we can translate that in to this client, to this patient, and actually help them get better results from their medical team. And doctors will notice that. We can reduce the incidence of cutaneous toxicity during treatment. Again, I'm using the medical terms that the doctors use. So, and how do we do that? We'll get to that in a couple slides down. And we can reduce dose delay or dose reduction. And what that means basically is when somebody's going through cancer treatments, and I'll use the example of the person in the picture right here. This person has breast cancer, had a mastectomy, double mastectomy, and had radiation that you can see that was so bad they wanted to stop the dose, so delay it or reduce it because the skin condition was so bad. Okay, if I can do something to help prep that skin so that they don't get to this point, then they won't have to reduce the dose of the treatment. And that's really important in cancer treatment, guys, because cancer treatment is treated a certain way on purpose because it's very fast growing cells and it needs to be treated and hit that way with whatever the treatment is, whether it's the anti-cancer drug therapy, or chemotherapy, or radiation therapy. So it's important that they stay on schedule. And if we can help that, do you think that would be valuable to a doctor? Yes. Very much so. We also talk about the power of touch, and what's going to happen after COVID? Are we still going to be touching our clients? At the beginning of this quarantine, I was thinking, I wonder how this is going to impact what I do, because my tools are these two hands right here. And that's what I use when I work with a cancer patient. So I'm going to be able to do that going forward. And I remember having a conversation with somebody in the medical field and someone out of the medical field, asking that question just to see what they would say. Both of them emphatically said, touch will always be needed and people will be craving it when they come out of this quarantine. So we will still be able to do it. We're just going to be changing the way we do it. We're going to make sure that we are washing our hands and educating our clients and letting them know that we're safe, right? We need to know how to help incisions and scars heal quicker, because again, that is a game changer for a doctor. If they do a surgery and this person's having a hard time healing and it's still red and angry and irritated, and you can teach them how to do the feathering technique with the Calendula oil, and in 5 days, 7 days, the next time they go back to see their doctor, it is completely changed and better. That's when I get the calls and go, what did you do? Please tell me, what did you do? Okay, and it was those kinds of questions over and over again had invite me in to do what's grand, which is educating an esthetician, educating doctors and nurses in the oncology department. And that was really, really fascinating, guys. And then knowing when to refer them to the medical team, because this is really important. There are things in our scope, there are things not in our scope. Okay, so when they're doing or going through something that is not in our scope, we have to immediately be able to refer them to their medical team, okay? And let their medical team know that you are reinforcing everything that they are saying. So, cancer by the numbers. I wanted to put this in here because, there's an interesting fact that, when you don't know about something, you didn't even know it was there, and all of a sudden you hear about this whole evolution of something. And my husband had on a television show the other day that had a Volkswagen Club. And I'm like, really? I didn't even know they had that. Well, of course they did. I don't have a Volkswagen, so I didn't know about it, right? The same thing I find when it comes to cancer. And the numbers, as I said, go up about 50,000 every year in the US. For the last 2 years, we've had more cases of cancer in women. It used to be the other way around. And again, it's breast cancer. So really, women, pay attention to what's going on in your world and make sure you know what's going on with cancer is still the #2 cause of death in the US, but it's literally less than 50,000 behind #1, which is heart attack. Okay, so it's very common. And if the statistics hold true by saying 1 in 2 men in a lifetime and 1 in 3 women in a lifetime, you will know somebody that has had cancer. Okay, so how can we help them? And I like this last number, the 18.2 million survivors. Okay, that is my client. Because somebody who's gone through cancer treatments, whether it was last month or 10 years from now, still has what we call a forever modification, possibly. I need to ask those questions, put it in here, and she needs to know that, or he needs to know that, so that when they come in for a spa treatment, they're getting treated safely. Really important, okay? So there's a lot of people out there that need you. Skin cancer, we all get that in school, right? And we know that it's the most common cancer of all. 100,000 melanoma cases they're expecting to be diagnosed this year in 5.4 million basal cell and squamous cell every year in the US. Okay, so this is very common. It is preventable, but we need to educate our clients, and we need to know what kind of products to use. One of the things we talk about a lot in the oncology world are SPFs, right? Because some of the medication, in fact, a lot of medication cause photosensitivity. So it's really important to be able to have that, a good SPF. So do ingredients matter? Yes, they do. This one was done a few years back. Numbers probably the same, maybe it's higher, I don't know. But when you add up everything that we use in a day, our accumulation of toxic chemicals could be as high as 515 a day, right? And then we wonder why we're so sick. I think that since this chart was made, that a lot of products have changed and they've taken out some of those things that shouldn't have been in there in the first place. But it's up to us to really pay attention to this and make sure that our clients know this too. What should not be in our personal care products? You know, when we're putting those on every single day, again, I'm going to go back to the accumulation effect of what are we putting on, how many times a day, and what is in that product, okay? Super important. So yes, we talk about that, and we also do a really great job of educating our clients on this. So the cancer treatments that are used in the US are surgery, chemo or anti-cancer drug therapy, and radiation. There are several integrative therapies that are now being introduced to the US, have been used outside us for many years. But those integrative ones typically don't cause side effects. So we're going to talk about the ones that cause some skin side effects that we can help with, okay? So you'll see what I'm talking about. Surgery is done for a variety of reasons, and look at the different side effects that can be caused from a surgery, right? That person could lose loss of function. Maybe they can't move their arm. Maybe they've got some pain. They had some downtime. It's going to affect their quality of life. They're going to have a scar, and that scar can be looked at by them in one of two ways: a victory scar or a constant reminder of what they went through, and it's kind of up to them, which will and can cause some body image issues. And of course, lymphedema is another thing that can happen from surgery. So knowing these, how can we help with scars? You guys know, and the ones who win will get the tamanu oil. So this would be tamanu and feathering. And that video is on the back side, or it's actually, I think, on the front side of my website in the vlog section. But it's a simple process where you just take a little bit of that oil and feather back and forth with your ring finger, the opposite direction of the incision or the scar. And you do that a couple of times a day, about 5 minutes each time. So this isn't something we're doing to our client. We are educating them how to do this themselves, okay? So they buy this, they take it home, and they're doing it on a regular basis. It will make a big difference, new scars and old scars. Again, just some more of the scars that you could potentially see when you're working with this client. And, you know, I like to have pictures like this because one of the things that when you work with this client, they've had everything done to them. And by the time they come to see you, they have no more fear of anything. So they're going to lift their shirt and show you this. How are you going to respond? Because they're going to be looking at your face to determine how they look. I say Lady Gaga, poker face, right? So you're going to learn how to have a poker face. And the more that you can see of this, the less shocked you will be, right? So these are some of the things that you will see, including melanoma. That's a Mohs surgery up top there, and a melanoma on the back of the leg. All of those can be helped with the tamanu oil as well. And since we're right here, just so you know, we always wait until that incision is closed before you put anything on it. So wound care basically is after it is closed, okay? That's when they can start the healing. Picture of lymphedema there. And again, few more scars. Because breast cancer is #1 for women in the US, you're going to see more of that type of scarring in that location. So again, once the scar is closed and the dressing is removed is when we can start educating the client on how to take care of it. We're going to go with the amazing tamanu oil. We can also talk to them about calendula as an overall protecting oil, which is fabulous with a bunch of ice in it. And then LED treatments. So LED can be used with this client and it actually can help increase healing as well. But we want to make sure that the client is not on any photosensitizing medication. Okay, that would be the only contraindication. So radiation therapy, again, purpose, kill the cancer cells, reduce the tumor size. Maybe it's prophylactic, meaning they're doing it in prevention of, in case there's a cell there that they missed. But fatigue is going to be probably #1. You're going to see the radiation dermatitis like the pictures that we saw, and that client is going to be at risk of a secondary cancer in that area. So it's going to be important that in the future that client knows that and make sure that they always have the right SPF if they're going out into the UV, into our beautiful weather. Some of the different types of treatment, there's internal, there's external. Again, you learn about all of these. You learn which ones cause what type of side effects and which ones we should probably not see them because they are potentially radioactive. And then again, some different pictures of radiation dermatitis. So it's kind of like extreme UV, like a very bad sunburn, and it will start and gradually work its way up to something like what you see here. And some people, they can go all the way through their whole treatment and not even turn pink, okay? What we have learned, and again, there's a great evidence-based study that shows that if we can prep the skin with calendula oil prior to their radiation and all the way through that radiation, they have less dermatitis. That's safe and easy to use and relatively inexpensive too. They just need to know about it. Xerosis or really dry skin, sometimes there's pigment changes from that radiation therapy, and of course hair loss, but only in the area of the radiation. So, you know, how can we help? Again, prepping that skin with calendula oil is really important, and you can use an oil or a cream. We work with the Bodyceuticals line, which is a Vancouver, Washington company that actually has a farm, and it's a family farm, and they've been growing the calendula for years. This is all they do. It's a fabulous, fabulous product. And it comes in all varieties and forms, however you would like to use it. They can use it during their radiation as long as they're not doing it prior to walking into their treatment. It has to be clean, dry skin 4 hours prior to their radiation treatment. Again, you learn all of this so that you can help guide and coach your client through that. And then afterwards as well, continue to use it because it will continue to help the skin be strengthened and hydrated. Chemotherapy or anti-cancer drug therapy. This is used to kill cancer cells. And, you know, in anti-cancer drug therapy, there's also immunotherapy as well as the chemotherapy. So something that's cytotoxic, toxic to cells, or something that stimulates the immune system like an immunotherapy. both of them have side effects, okay? And both of them have kind of similar side effects. So myelosuppression or low blood cells is the most common side effect for the medications, the drug type therapy. And we need to know that because that means they're going to be at a higher risk for infection, bruising, and bleeding. And the skin conditions, many of them. Every day somebody sends me a picture. I do consults with hospitals in Texas and all over the US, and somebody will send me a picture, help, what's going on? I ask the questions, get the details, and find out what's going on. Most of the time, it's medication related. So the fatigue is a big thing. And that's going to be a nice thing if they come and see you because they get to relax, right? To be on the bed. But keep that in mind. If they're tired, don't talk to them and don't go super fast through your motions. Go slow and let them relax. Let them be able to rest. Low blood counts, sensitivity to smells, change in taste. That's a big thing. And they say, don't eat the food you like during chemo because you'll hate it afterwards because it doesn't taste the same. So wait and save that till you're all done and then have it. Some of the rashes, some of the dry skin, the dermal toxicity or hand-foot syndrome, or maybe it's the bruising and bleeding that could be ecchymosis or purpura. That, again, is a side effect of the medication. So what can we do with xerosis or pruritus? So dry skin or itchy skin. Super important. Now, this is one of those evidence-based things that doctors are telling their patients to do. That is lukewarm water, not hot, and a cleanser that they call an acid wash, which is 5.5, versus something that we might possibly have on hand that would be right around the 7 mark, okay? The science and the scientific studies are many showing that if you use this pH to that skin, it will respond and heal quicker. Twice daily hydration, right? So make sure you've got good products that you can introduce them to, because even if they've never had dry skin before, they are going to be dry everywhere. The driest skin they've probably ever had. And I always say, I every once in a while meet a patient/client who loved their chemo because it was the first time in their life they didn't have breakouts, right? Other than that, everybody complained because they were super, super dry. If they've got the rash or the erythema, which is reddening of the skin, we want to calm that skin and cool it down. So we can either use a cool compress, a rose quartz roller, and then again, washing with a 5.5 cleanser, pH, and apply the Tamanu or Calendula oil. So the one thing about, and I want to make sure you guys get this, Tamanu oil is a spot treatment only. So you would never take this and put it all over a whole area, okay? It's a spot treatment only. If you're trying to get hydration, you're going to use Calendula or some other oil. This one, Tamanu, spot treatment only to help heal something that is red, hurting, stinging, biting, okay? Sensitivity to smells. So this is where we, have to have our products cannot be highly scented. We might really love that. I'll just pick a couple because I hear people always talk about lavender, right? They love that and they go to the spa so they can have those wonderful smells. Cancer patient, even if they liked lavender before, they might not like it now. So we want to gently introduce anything that has a scent to them on something neutral and see how they do. Okay, but if they don't like it, you need to be able to continue the treatment with products that do have in them. The hair loss is going to be a big issue for this client. They say it is the most traumatic part. Because I'm a cosmetologist, we also have a wig location within our treatment rooms, both of them in both locations. And that has been a big game changer because they'll come for the wigs because they know they need the hair. And while they're there, you can talk to them about what's going on with their skin. And that's been really nice for moving them into a skincare client and helping them out with that problem as well. And just so you know, as an esthetician, you can fit a wig, you cannot cut one. Okay, so if that's something that you wanted to add to the location, if you were going to have a oncology focused treatment room or area, you can do wigs. You hook up with a hairstylist that can cut it for them. Again, they're going to lose hair everywhere. So not only on their scalp, but their brows, their lashes, their nose, ears, legs, arms. And I tease my little older ladies. I always tell them, and you're going to get a free Brazilian. The older ladies go, what's that? And then I tell them, and then they're like, oh my, okay, you never know, you might like it. So they don't have hair during chemotherapy for the most part. Some of them will, but we still would not wax because the skin is going to be thinner. Almost all the medications that a cancer patient is on thins the skin, okay? So no hair removal while they're on chemotherapy. Otherwise, you'll end up with skin lifting like the picture here. If we're not trained, we might do some of these things, right? I will say probably 99 times out of 100, if I talk to somebody who's not oncology trained and I say, have you ever worked with a cancer patient? They all say yes. And I say, well, what did you do different? And they go, oh, I knew just to slow down and lighten my touch. Well, that might be correct for some of them, but it's definitely not correct for all. And in fact, if somebody is at risk for lymphedema, that touch could move lymph and actually trigger lymphedema. So you need to know who you can touch, how you can touch them, when you can touch them, what do you need to do different, what do you need to ask, what do you need to know, okay? A nice hand and arm massage could leave a client with low platelets looking like the picture there, all bruised up, right? And that's not how you want to leave your clients. We want them to come and enjoy and leave looking better than they came in, right? Listening skills is a huge, huge part of what we talk about in this class, because we live in a time frame, unfortunately, where we are really bombarded with so much noise and so much activity, technology, that we rarely have time to be still and be quiet. And this client, when they're going through this, really needs the quiet. And they also need people to hear them. Okay, that's a really key thing. They are in a position of feeling really powerless, and they feel like nobody listens to what they are going through. Nobody cares. Nobody is asking their opinion on things. They're just doing things to them. And so when they come to see us as an oncology-trained esthetician, if we listen to them, right there, you have got a client for life. And I've heard them say it many, many times. Thank you so much for just listening. Thank you so much for just being there. And again, you know, in the beginning, you're not going to know everything. I remember when I was first starting, I didn't know everything. And I would say, you know what, I don't know that, but I'm going to look it up and I'm going to find out for you. And I would look it up and I would do a ton of research. And then I would come back to them and share that with them. And that really always blew them away. So what questions to ask, make sure you have the right consult or form. Excuse me. Be able to provide a safe space. You know, so not every treatment room would be the right place for a cancer patient. If they had to climb up a bunch of stairs, or if they're in the corner of a hair salon and there's hairspray and hair dryers and nail smells going on, that might not be the best place. So if you're going to work with this client, make sure you have a treatment room that is quiet and you can provide that safe place for them. That's really important. And then remember I said this earlier, always reinforce what the doctor says. So let's talk about that for just a minute. And let me tell you the method to the madness behind that, because when a client is going through cancer treatments, they have literally put their life in the hands of the doctor and they trust them at this point. If you say anything that would be disagreeing with something their doctor said, you can adjust that trust level, and that would be a really bad, okay? So even if you don't agree with what they're saying, and you know what, I've had many of them tell me things like, no, you can't have a massage because massage moves cancer. Really? The studies have been out on that for a long time. That is not true. That is not how cancer moves. What if they said, oh, you need to use a product, I'm just going to name a product, Aquaphor. What if you don't like Aquaphor because you don't like mineral oil? Would you say, no, don't use that, that's bad, use mine? No, you can't do that. Again, let them go with what the doctor is advising for now. And then when they're done, you can talk to them about proper products later down the road. But really important, always reinforce what the doctor said. And if it comes down to it, there's something you really, really don't agree with, contact the doctor, talk to them about it and see what happens. That could work out well, and it might not, but you never know. And again, that would be a learning experience for you. You would learn one way or the other. You will learn how to create some really fun events for this client. Maybe it's a makeover night. Maybe it's a product and skincare education. I hope you guys are doing those kinds of things anyway within your spas, because clients love that. Have some, I don't know, or vegetables, juice or wine, whatever whatever your clients will like, and educate them on a new product or a new treatment that you have, something that can help them and bring them together. Connect with a hair salon, connect with a wig store, right? So that you've got somebody that you can refer back and forth to if you're not going to be that person to have the wigs. Again, that's networking at its best. If you go in, meet that wig store, give them your card, take their card, because you're both working with the same client. And if you're both working with the same client, you are helping them with skin, they're helping them with hair. You can transfer those clients back and forth, and you can really build a clientele way. Okay, and trust me, they are looking for somebody like you, because when they go into the wig store and they're complaining about skin, the person at the wig store either has someone they can refer them to or they don't. And they love it when they can refer, okay? Make sure your spa environment, like I said earlier, is a quiet, comfortable environment, and make sure we're practicing safe sanitation methods. And I think that when we get back to business, our new normal will be an elevated level of sanitation and sterilization. So just make sure you're doing everything that you can to ensure safety for them. And make sure you're retailing these products, because there's one thing to be able to say, you need to find a cream that doesn't have this or a cream that does have that. And they go, okay, where do I get that? You can either say, I carry it, it's right here, or go, I don't know, go try to find it, right? What is service? What is the best way to really service that client? I think you should have those products so that you have them. And you never know who's going to walk in and love them. When we created the Skin Love line, went to a formulator, talked to several formulators. It took me almost 2 years to do it. But we found one that was not only a chemist, but also a biologist, because it was really important to me that they also understood the ingredient as a formulation, as well as what does it do on the body. And we created a line that's a transition line only for when they're in active cancer treatment, phase 2, we call that. Very inexpensive and very simple and basic. It does exactly what we need for that time period. And my thought was that this was just for the cancer patients. But I've had a lot of people trying it, using it, and loving it, and they're healthy clients, and they're buying it too. So you know what? Clients are in the mode right now of really looking for clean products as well. So there's a lot of options out there. Why? Why do I love working with cancer patients? How did I get here? I told you I was a cancer survivor. That's one thing. But you know what? Along the way, the gentleman that's in the middle here, and if you've seen the video called My Story, this is my start, and really, really why I do what I do. This gentleman, his name is Jayton, and he was introduced to me by a colleague in a networking group. And he said, I have a friend who has cancer. Could you go see him? And the story goes, at the time, I wasn't a traveling esthetician. And I don't go to people's homes, and especially people's homes I don't know. But for some reason, I said yes. And as I was driving there that day, I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do when I get there? And he's a man. Is he even going to care about his skin? I mean, what am I going to say? And I thought, wow, should have thought of that before I got in the car, before I said yes, but I didn't. I went, I showed up, I knocked on the door. His wife opened the door, and Jayton was sitting in the middle of the room with that smile right there, little bald, skinny man. And I walked over and introduced myself to him and talked to him for a little bit, found out that he had stage 4 stomach cancer, and that they had tried everything and nothing had worked. That point to know that that's not a good thing. Okay, hospice is typically end of life. Usually if you have 6 months or less to live, you get a hospice bed and a hospice nurse at your house. I did not know what to say. And again, guys, this was in the beginning of my experience in working with cancer patients. And so, I probably in retrospect think I said the wrong thing, but it turned out to be the right thing. So the only thing that came out my mouth was, "Are you having any issues with your skin?" And he instantly said yes, put both hands out, said, "Please, I'm so dry." And so luckily I had brought body lotion with me that day. So I put the body lotion on, and as I was massaging it into his hands and his arms and just talking to him a little bit more, we finished up. And when I was done, I said to him, "Thank you so much for inviting me to your home. And it was such a pleasure to meet you." And I stuck my hand out to shake his hand. This was pre-COVID. We could shake hands back then. And instead, he took my hand, he kissed it, and he held it to his face. And he said, "You have no idea what you just did for me. I have thirsted for touch like that." And again, I did not know what to say, but I squeezed out a "You're welcome." And I packed my things and I walked out to my car. And as soon as I got in the car and closed the door, I burst into tears. And I remember sitting there thinking, wow, what just happened? I am so touched and moved by this gentleman, and evidently he was touched and moved by me. Why? What happened? And I've done a lot of thinking about it, and it's just the basic human touch. I touched him, and I went back to him several times, weekly, every 2 weeks first, and then every week. And when he passed away, I did go to his funeral. He's one of the very few, I've gone to a few of them, but he was one of the very few that I did go to, because this man put me on my path. This was my life-changing event, because I knew that day in the car that I would never turn back, that this would be my mission and my goal, to make sure that every person like Jayden would have someone like me trained, whether they knew exactly what they were doing or not, but they would be able to put their hands confidently and with love on a person going through this. Now, in the realm of things, did I change his life? Did he live? Did I change his skin? Did that even matter? When I went to the funeral, his wife introduced me to their grown daughter and said this: "I don't know what she did in that room with Daddy, but whatever it was, his pain would be gone for 3 or 4 days." And I remember thinking, wow, I wish I had known that, because if I had known that I could take pain away, which now I know all the science and the studies, for 3 days, I'd have been back there on the 4th to make sure he never had to go through pain again. But that was my life-changing event, guys. And that's why the mission for me is to have oncology-trained people everywhere, so that anybody going through this can find somebody that will care for them. Still today, I'll tell you that a lot of people spas turn cancer patients away. I just talked to somebody yesterday who said, "Oh no, I just say, no, you're in cancer treatment, I can't see you." Like, to me, that's heartbreaking, guys, because with training, you can help them as well. So that is why I do what I do. And I'm going to open it up for questions. Anybody have questions for me? And I don't know, Amber, are you going to do the questions, or do you want me to look at them?
Actually, we're going to bring Sheri back on in just a moment. You can go ahead and get started, and she will be joining us just a moment here.
Okay, so I'm gonna look here. Is aloe from plant okay post-treatment? So I'm gonna tell you the answer to that is no, and there's an interesting reason why. It's because of the bacteria that is on a plant. If that person has a low or compromised immune system, that could be harmful or dangerous to them. So if you're going to use aloe, it needs to be not in a plant and needs to be processed, okay?
And
Do you
Becky,
have persons that, oh, you want to say something?
well, there was a couple that I had answered, while you were chatting, and I just want to make sure I say them out loud, so that if somebody else had the question, and you can obviously correct me. So one of the questions that was asked was, is the training mostly non-product specific, or does it only apply to the knowledge with your product line? Second question is, what type of LED? So my answer was, this is not product education, and that the LED is a light stim LED. So I just wanted to make sure that if someone else had that exact same question, it was in there.
Okay, and let me just expound on that just a minute. Guys, on my website, you can see mission partners or training sponsors. There's actually 13 different lines that I work with. So I also consult for lines all the time. So they ask me, can this be used on a cancer patient? There are a lot of products that can be used on a cancer patient, and the training is product neutral. Okay, and the only reason that we brought in the O Skin Love this last year was because we're working with schools and hospitals who did not want to order from 13 people. Okay, and if you work with a hospital, it's going to be kind of similar. They're going to want product because that's a service to the client. So that's why we did that, but it's very neutral. You can use anything. And in fact, most people will bring to the training a product and say, will you look at this? Can I use it?
And then we have, I'm losing my voice already. Want to make sure that I cover again. I know we mentioned this in the very beginning and Becky covered it, but I want to make sure I do it one more time, that the training that is offered to Esthetician Connection members includes a lot of things. I want to go through them. You get your full online training, which is a 16-module course. You get your exam and certificate, a complete training manual. I have this. It's very comprehensive. You get your oncology tote, which everything goes in. You get product samples. You get 3-piece full-size skincare kit with the O-Love line. You also get the Light Stim handheld red LED, which has $150 value right there. She has also added a 30-minute consult for you to have in case you have any questions. And then you are entitled to go to a live class on the very last day where they do the hands-on, and that has a $300 value. So you're getting all of the products, all of the education, all of the certification. You're getting the LED handhelds. You're also getting the time with Becky and the hands-on class. Normally $9.97. You guys are getting it for $5.99. So I want to make sure that I covered that. We have it on the EC page as well. And before we go to the next question, don't forget, if you came on late, 3 of you are going to win the Tamano oil, which is the O-Love Tamano oil that she has talked about numerous times in this presentation. 3 of you are going to win this, and the way you win that is by posting a photo of you taking this class on the Esthetician Connection Facebook group page, and make sure you use the hashtag EC Loves Oncology Spa Solutions. So the hashtag again is EC Loves Oncology Spa Solutions, and 3 of you are going to win the Tamano oil that we've talked about. I mean, she's covered so many, you know, I've been playing with the whole time during the class, and now I'm finding all these spots I need to heal. So I want to go back to the questions again. So Becky, another question is, do you have programs that help hire estheticians into doing services for cancer patients, getting them into the hospital, setting up and helping these patients? My mother is a cancer survivor, so this is something very special and sentimental to me. So do you have those kind of services?
So I'm going to answer that kind of in an interesting way. So we don't have a particular training. What we have is coaching, because not everybody wants to go forward and move into, you know, start with a doctor. So when that happens, we have a coaching. It's a one-on-one time. At one time, I've got people into a hospital with 2 coaching calls at $80 each, 30 minutes. So it's not inexpensive anything for you. But along with that is the proposals. How do you approach a cancer center? Who do you talk to? What do you say to them? What do they want to hear? What do you not want to say? So we do help in that way. Okay. And that's what we've always done. However, in the fall, this last year has been a really interesting and a very exciting year for me. It's like all of this, you know, my husband teased me about an overnight success, right? I've been doing it 15 years. Finally, it's happening, and it's not overnight. It took me 15 years to get here.
Exactly.
There's the Global Wellness Institute is put me in charge of putting together a hospital program, and we're going to have, it'll be an online training for an oncology-trained person in the area that will be at no cost to them, that will place them into the hospital to do the program. So that will be coming, and it's coming in the fall.
Awesome. Thank you. That is excellent. And then another question. So when is massaging that is not okay? It says when massaging, when massaging, what is not okay?
Okay. So as an esthetician, right, we do a hand treatment. Maybe we do a hand massage, arm massage. We always have to find out if that client has any compromised lymphatic watershed or quadrant of the part you're going to massage, okay? Because massaging somebody with compromised lymphatic can trigger lymphedema. So have they had any lymph nodes removed? Have they had any lymph nodes radiated? Those are questions we need to ask. And then if they're on anti-cancer drug therapies and they've got low blood counts, we wouldn't want to do any massage when they've got low blood counts either. So you just have to ask questions.
Lots of questions. And then also we filmed some videos with you guys where we have talked about the hydrate and hug technique. And that is something that's very beneficial. If you're not sure when to massage, the hugging technique is a much safer approach when, if you don't know exactly, or they haven't answered the questions, or etc. So there's options for you.
Erring to the side of caution and would always be safe. It would be touch and it would be hydration.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, so let's see. How large of an area can Tamana oil be applied? So we were talking earlier about spot treating, and I said, oh, I did my cuticle. So how long a large of an area can you apply that to?
So it depends on what you're dealing with. We went to, we took a trip one time, and my husband and my daughter went scuba diving, and it turned out they couldn't scuba, so they were snorkeling. So they were on the surface of the water for 6 hours. Both of them came home with, back to the hotel, horrible sunburns, okay? My husband let me put the Tamana, believe it or not, my daughter didn't. And in the next morning, that was his whole back. The next morning, his red was gone, hers was not. Then she said, all right, do it. Okay, yeah. So it just depends on the area, but if you just can think of it more for it's to treat a particular condition, it's not an overall hydration.
Gotcha, that makes sense. How long after the treatment can you perform the waxing?
Go ahead. Again, something that can trigger lymphedema is trauma. Mm-hmm. Do you think pulling wax is traumatic to the skin? And if it is, you probably don't want to ever do that in an area where the lymphatic watershed is compromised, okay? Otherwise, as a general rule, we say about 6 months after the last chemo or radiation, then you can go ahead and start doing a little patch test and see how they do. But avoid the area where the compromised lymph.
And lymphedema, if you're not familiar with that, that is a relatively serious situation that you want to make sure that you're aware of. And it requires specific training to try to, that's kind of outside the realm of what we do.
Definitely outside our scope.
Yeah, and anybody who has had those lymph nodes removed, they may not develop it, but they could. So you have to just assume, always lean on the side of caution. Okay, here's another one. Hi, I'm a licensed esthetician and instructor. Lost my father in 2014 to throat cancer and have done some fundraisers because I strongly believe in helping a cause. How do I inquire about training so I can educate my students?
Ooh, I'm going to say reach out to me because we started a school program a couple of years ago and it's going really well. So send me an email. I'll help you get that there, and that would be fantastic. When you have that personal reason for doing it too, people will also catch that. That's contagious. That's fantastic.
And please tell me what to do with someone that has severe psoriasis.
Oh, so that's like a whole different thing. Mm-hmm. Interesting. I'm going to tell you that psoriasis has a lot of different bases. Like, why is it happening? And it can be an autoimmune, which now it's kind of classified as that. And it's going to require a doctor, number one. Okay, so that definitely is outside of our scope. But what is in our scope that has been known to be very, very helpful is mass hydration. And believe it or not, we just had in our last week's webinar, they actually had a treatment that they did. And so if you are interested in that, Alexandria Professional, I don't know if you know who that is, the sugaring company, they actually have a treatment that can help with that. She's got some great before and after pictures. So it kind of exfoliated, the sugar kind of exfoliated it, and then they hydrated it. And, it's a autoimmune. Mm-hmm. It needs to be worked with a doctor.
Let's see, we've got so many here. I'm just trying to go through them. Hold on. Here's that one. Join late. Is this Okay, if you join late and you missed the very beginning of this, Amber will have this up on the Esthetician Connection YouTube channel sometime tonight. So give her till later this evening, but you'll be able to go back and watch the beginning, no problem. And yes, there is a program we are offering that is an Esthetician Connection special where you get all of the supplies as well as the certification and the training for only $5.99 when it's usually $9.97. Those details are also in the chat thread and on the Esthetician Connection website and the Esthetician Connection Facebook page. Thank you so much for sharing this. Am I able to share this? Oh, yes, you can share this video with your students if they are interested in this. And again, what I just said was it's going to be on the EC YouTube channel by this evening. Next question. How hard is it to find a job within the oncology field?
Good question. So again, there's no such thing as an oncology esthetician, and doctors do not hire them. I have many, many, many grads who have connected with the doctor and ended up working in their doctor's office, then being given a room so that treatment's there. But something that you have to decide that that's what you want to do, and then you have to kind of create that. And we do help, right? So again, this is being able to help every client that comes in to see you, whether you decide to go and work with a doctor or not, and you never know where it will take you. Again, I have this great trick I always do when you have somebody that comes and loved what you did, you say, oh, I'm so glad that you loved it. Would you do me a favor and go back to the doctor how much you loved it?
Yeah, it's a
And that's how we get, that's right, that's how we get those girls into those doctor's offices, okay?
I believe that totally. And so often the patient or the client would love to do that. I haven't asked them to say, you know, do you mind sharing that with them? And all of a sudden the doctor starts doing because all my patients and they love what you're doing. So that's a great way of getting a job for sure. Okay, how do I find a mentor in my area? Do you have a list of people?
I do. I also have trainers. I have 12 trainers throughout the. I can definitely hook you up with somebody that is been trained. And although, I mean, I get just like you.
Perfect, perfect. And your website, they asked about the online address. That's oncology-spa-solutions.com, right?
Yep.
Let's see. And this would be something you may or may not know based on the products you tested. Can the Reposage mineral mask be used on cancer patients? Have you tested that yet?
So I haven't tested that one. So
Okay.
I'd have to see, there's two things that I look at when I'm testing a mask, okay? Number one is ingredients. Number two is ease of putting on, taking off, because you've got a client with very, very sensitive, compromised skin. So we can't have anything that you have to rub too hard to get off or, you know, that's gonna pull off a lot of skin. That's not what you would use at this time. We recommend like a sheet mask, and we also recommend, you know, a nice creamy hydration mask.
Makes sense.
But I'd have to look at it, and if you want me to, you can send me the ingredients.
Perfect, perfect. Someone just said, how do you start a relationship with a hospital or oncologist? And you kind of touched on that with, sometimes it is who you know. You know, if you have an in or a contact with a physician, if a family member has undergone cancer care and you are at any of their doctor's appointments, you can always talk to the doctor then. And most importantly is any of your clients who love what you do, having them go back and share that with the physicians. I think we touched on that one. Job placements. Do you have anything that's job placement, or that's not really?
No, because again, it's not there's no such thing as what we do, right?
Yeah.
However, you guys, plastic surgeons, and especially ones who work with cancer reconstruction and oncologists seem to really get it. And they're the ones who listen to the patients complaining about their skin, right? And so those are the ones, but we teach you who to talk to. And it's usually in the coaching program, it's a little bit of a homework, like tell me who's in your area. And then I have you go and take a look at the website and see who's in charge, who should we contact, and we put together a plan, because you never want to walk in just cold. You might blow it. Okay, so you wait until you're ready, and then we put together a plan to help you get there.
That is, yeah, I've worked with, when I was started in aesthetics, I actually went right into medical aesthetics, started working directly with plastic surgeons and dermatologists. And the plastic surgeon that I ended up spending the most time with was actually, he did some cosmetic work, but he was primarily into wound care. And patients who were having, I mean, some of the patients that came in, some had completely lost their eyelids from being in fires. I mean, they were in hyperbaric chambers, and he was more open to my services than some of the cosmetic plastic surgeons who were like, oh, like they don't need you right now, like they've got me. But now that has shifted, and those physicians, are much more into aesthetics. But back then, that was my in, was going through a wound care physician. And then, of course, my practice grew into all sorts of things, but I was there for him when he had people that were in car accidents and needed help with injuries and scars and burn patients. And that's where I spent a lot of my time. So they're sometimes very open to those conversations.
Very much so. And I'm finding that there's a whole new generation of doctors, guys, that are about 40 and younger. Okay. So if you can find them that age or younger, they get, and they really care about their patients in every aspect, and what we call the circle of care, because we are part of that circle of care. Again, if we can help them feel better about themselves, feel better about their surgery, feel better about their life, that's better for the doctor too.
Yeah, absolutely. And two other questions. One is, how long does this promo run? I believe we have it till next week. I haven't even checked on that yet, but I believe it's a week long. Am I right?
Yes, and they're registering through you.
Okay, yeah. So that the promo runs through the week. Then where is the hands-on class? And I think obviously right now nowhere, but when everybody gets back out into the world, you've got them all over the country. Am I correct?
Yes, in most major cities. Okay. So, and like I said, 60 to 80 classes a year typically, and you can go onto the website or send me an email and just say, here's where I live, where would be my closest class? And you know what we find is, for people who are working, this way you only have to take one day off of work and only have a hotel for one night. Go someplace fun, right? Go someplace where you always wanted to go.
Exactly. And then someone asked, is the exam offered after you attend the third day, or is it offered after the training? And I can answer that because I've gone through the training. You take the exam when you finish the online training. The hands-on class is by no means mandatory. You don't have to take it.
Right.
It is available at no charge to you should you want to take it. So you can take the online certification, take your exam, you can be done at that point, and then you can take your consult with Becky if you wanted to. Again, optional. You don't have to take advantage of all your benefits. But if you're like, oh, there's a class that's, in the next state or in my state, and hey, I'd like to take it, by all means, you have that luxury, but it's not mandatory to take that.
Correct.
I did not see the announcement for this class. Would love to take the full one. Oh, okay. What we took today is going to be on the YouTube. And then the full oncology class is on promotion through the Esthetician Connection. So you can find it at www.estheticianconnection.com. Click on current sales. It's going to be right there. You'll see everything that's included. Can you please repeat the hashtag? Okay, so that's a good thing to bring that up. If you are entering to win the Tomato Oil, which we have talked about numerous times, all you do is take a photo of you taking this class, post it on the EC Facebook page, and use the hashtag EC Loves Oncology Spa Solutions. So hashtag EC Loves Oncology Spa Solutions. That's how we're going to know to look for those photos. Let's see. Are there more specifics on what kind of LED to use? I have a machine. It's not a light stem.
Okay, so typically there's not a lot of studies, guys, done on cancer patients and LED. And the ones that are on the red LED. So you probably have red, infrared, something like that with your LED. That would be fine.
Gotcha. Can Canadians take this course?
Yes, they can. We've had lots of them. Yes. Anybody, anywhere.
Is there I'm going to do my best to answer this. Is there a payment plan for $5.99? And guys, the way this works is you can use your credit card. So obviously you would pay monthly payments on that. You can also, I believe we take PayPal, and they've got PayPal credit in there. So that's an option as well. I don't know if we have any payment plans set up for anything like this at this point. you can send an email over to admin@Esthetician Connection, and if there is anything available, we can let you know. But usually through PayPal or your credit card, you can find a way to do that. Okay, which hospital system, or were you saying a general hospital program? Not sure. I guess, weren't you talking about you were getting ready to put that together?
Yeah, so no, this is going to be not only nationwide, guys, but it's going to start in the US and it's going to roll globally. Okay, so it'll be with all of the hospitals. So we're going to have a press release, and we'll get the word out there, and then we'll need people to fill it.
Yeah, that's
It would be a one time a month, couple hours of volunteering. And I'm going to say this is the other great way to get into a hospital. This is how I got into a hospital, and that is volunteer first. You know, give before you ask. And this is a great way if we get this. When we get this program, if you are one of those people and you're placed in a hospital, you're right there. You're going to get to meet the doctors, meet the patients, and then you never know where it will go from there.
That's true. At our spa, we do a lot of gua sha. Is it safe to do on an oncology patient, or would you advise against?
Okay, so the only thing you need to know is, did they have any lymph nodes removed or radiated in an area that you're going to use the tool on, right? The gua sha. So if it's on the face and they've had nodes removed down here, yes, you can. That's fine.
Okay, my daughter had surgery last October and her incision opened. It's almost closed, but it still has a couple spots that are red and need to heal. Would the Tamano oil help?
Definitely. Yep. And again, on the ring finger, feathering back and forth very gently, and have her do it a couple of times a day for at least 5 minutes. The more, the merrier.
Do you have any suggestions for working scar tissue from permanent makeup around the eyes?
From permanent makeup around the eyes. Wow. That's a difficult one, because typically you need to break that up, and that's kind of not a great area to be able to break that up in. But if you could do that, I guess that would be the only thing that I would suggest.
It would probably be better for self manipulation, you know, when it comes to the eye, because you have that, you know, when you're pushing too hard, it's very hard to do that on somebody else. Becky, what's your email so she can send you an email? Someone had another question, and I guess they wanted to, do we have your email?
Yep, so it's Becky, BECKY, at oncologyspasolutions.com.
Perfect. I am in the Caribbean. Are products available here?
So I'm sure, okay, I'm gonna back up on that, because I've actually had a couple of students that are from the Caribbean. Most products you can get there are going to be, there's going to have something in there that you can use on a cancer patient. Let's just put it that way. I've looked at several of them, because I know not everybody ships there. But if you have a particular line, again, send it to me and I'll take a look at it and tell you what within that line can be used with oncology clients. And I want to just mention too, so shipping is free in the US, but if we're shipping outside of the US, guys, I do ask that you pay that. Yeah. I don't know, do you do that? Or do you?
Well, anybody that wants to order out of the US will need to send you an email, because our website won't let them check out once they put information in. So if you guys are out of the US, Canada, or the Caribbean, and you want to get the promotion, all you need to do is email Becky, and then she'll keep track of any of the international orders, but because they will not go through the website just when they get to check out.
And I usually split it with you guys, so I don't make you pay it all, but I do ask that you help.
I just started an account with Hale. Okay, I just started an account with Hale and Hush. What are your thoughts of this product?
So Hale and Hush is an approved line. Now, not everything in there would be appropriate for a cancer patient. So again, once you get trained, then you learn what ones can be used and what ones you wait until they're healthy.
How many chances do you get to retake if you fail the test the first time?
As many times as you need to. Seriously, it lets you just keep going back in and doing it again and again.
Which also makes you learn, because if you miss a question and then you have to go back, you're like, oh, now you won't forget that question, because if anything, you remember that more than anything else.
That's right.
Okay, if the hands-on class is optional for the online course, does that mean you can take the hands-on without the online?
No.
Well, then you do have a hands-on class.
We have a 3-day live class.
Right,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah. And some people prefer that because they want the networking and all of that. So just, you'll have to wait until we get back up and have classes out there. But yeah, you can take the whole 3 days, but then those are $997 because there are trainers and.
yes. Yeah, the online class is the one that we have on promo. So if your preference is to take the 3-day live class, you can do that when she's back and everybody's in the country doing it. You don't get the promo on that, but you get to take the class and be certified. This was kind of like a perk, whereas you take the online class, you could go to that 3rd day for the hands-on, which is kind of a gift type of thing. Do they receive any CEs for taking your online course?
Yes, so through the COA, if you are NCEA member, it counts for 10 CEs. We also have CEs approved officially in Florida. And then the other states that require them, they've always, so far anyway, accepted it from the COA.
Okay, perfect.
You just
And
have
how
to
long,
turn that number in.
how long is the oncology class beginning to end? The online.
Online, so it depends on you. If you like breezed right through it, I've had people do it in a weekend. It's approximately 12 hours.
And, and I took the class, guys, and I did it maybe in 3 or 4 days so that I had a chunk and I could allow that to digest that day. And then I, went back and did some, work. And then the next day I took another chunk. For me, that was the best way that I felt it worked for me. Everybody's different. I have a lot going on in my life and I couldn't walk away from my laptop work situation for 12 straight hours. I couldn't do that. So it worked best for me to do it in a few different days.
It's at your own pace entirely. So it's whatever works for you.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the LED, the Soluma LED, someone's asking about that. What you're saying is the approved is the red or infrared LED, not the blue. Right. So if it's an LED that has multi lights in it, you're going to say stay away from that.
So because I work with hospitals, I have to have a scientific study for everything that gets introduced to a cancer patient. And the only study that we have is with red only. So at this point, I'm going to say you're going to want to wait. If you have the Soluma, you wait until 6 months after when they're all done. Then you can go ahead and use the Soluma.
Right. Or if they get the kit, they'll have the handheld red. So they'll have something to use, which is great.
Correct.
Can you please explain what you would be doing at the hospital when you volunteer? So when you were talking earlier about before you ask for a job or ask to work, you went in and volunteered. How do you approach a hospital and what are you offering to volunteer? Are you going straight in saying, hey, I want to give you aesthetic services for free? Or are you going in and saying, hey, I'm going to do all these other things you need to get in the door?
Depends on you and it depends on the area. I would see first if they have any type of program, like back in the day, it was the American Cancer Society Look Good, Feel Better program, right? So we could go in and volunteer with that. But we couldn't then tell them where we worked or help them anytime after that. But that program is moved out. It's no longer with American Cancer Society. So a lot of hospitals are looking for a replacement for that, which is why we're coming up with this program. So it will be something like that. Or, you know what? I have a lot of grads that have gone in and said, I want to work in hospice. That was their heart. I want to volunteer with whatever you need me. So again, it's entirely up to you. What do you want to do?
How long does the certificate expire and do you have to recertify and how often?
Yes, so it's good for 2 years and then you need to take a new exam to keep current. And like right now we're having the new exam at $19. So it's not a big expense. It's a time where you can learn the new information and you can do it that way by just taking the exam, or you can take the whole online course, the new one at the time. We ran that at 119. So again, not a big expense, but enough to refresh everything and get you back up to speed. Medical world moves fast and their certifications are good for 2 years. So we kind of modeled it after that so that when we're working with a hospital, they would get it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Would a massage therapist benefit from taking your course? And would the CEs also work for massage therapists?
So I'm going to say I have had many massage therapists take it and learn from it. But if you want something more specific to massage, you will want to check out the S4OM.org. So that's the Society for Oncology Massage. And once you get there, click on find a training. They've got them all over the US.
That's perfect. Do you have lifetime access to the training after completion?
So currently, no, but starting in July of this year, the answer will be yes. So anybody who's in now, yes. Yeah.
Is the package available to Canadians? We just addressed that, which was you email Becky and she'll talk to you about that. Do you have any La Roche-Posay products in the approved skincare?
You know what? I don't. I actually was at a conference this last year, a cancer survivor conference, and somebody who is a US rep for that gave me a bunch of samples and talked to me about it. I don't have those in my kit, but they're available at Walgreens, and it was kind of nice to be able to see what's out there, to find something that's in the the drugstores that they can use as well. So there are some that are okay and some that aren't within that line, to answer that question. Again, just look at the ingredients.
Look at the ingredients. I went to La Roche-Posay, France, with that company, and I studied toured their facility, and they were primarily focused on medicine and healing the body. The aesthetics was the secondary. So it was really interesting because I was like, wow, this is so unique. They were treating mouth ulcers with some of their thermal water. They had big machines set up where the patient would sit in front of these spraying things and open their mouth, and the spring water would go into their mouth to help heal their mouth ulcers. So some of the products in that line, I think you'll find very fascinating. So they are available, like you said, in the drugstores. Do we have to provide a video to pass the class for the hands-on?
No. So you take the online, you take the exam, you pass, you're done. Okay. And as Sheri said, if you want to attend the hands-on, that's a gift. That's just extra if you want it or need it. And same with the coaching call afterwards. If you want it, not required.
Not there. I mean, not forced. It's one of those things. So guys, we are at, just so you know, we're at 3:31. So we have done our Zoom room time. I'm going to recap a couple things. First and foremost, I want to thank Becky for doing this. It's been very educational, and I know a lot of the members enjoyed it, and I anticipate many of them enrolling into the course. The course itself, as we mentioned earlier, is 12 hours. You can take it at your leisure. So you can do it in a weekend, you can do it in a week, take 2 weeks, whatever it needs. That class gives you, and I'm going to make sure I read this off of here because I do not want to forget any of the things. What you're getting in here is the full online training, and it's got 16 modules in it. You get the exam and your certificate when you pass it. You get the training manual, which is a complete binder full of everything that the course goes over. You get the oncology tote, product samples, 3-piece full-size kit of the Olove skincare, as well as a handheld light stand LED. You also have the availability, not mandatory, but the availability to do a 30-minute consult with Becky, as well as attend a hands-on, the last day of one of her hands-on sessions when it's available. So you don't have to do it, but if it's in your area and you want that hands-on portion, you are welcome to do that up to a year after you take the online class. It is normally $9.97. You guys are going to get this for $5.99. You have a 2-year certification in which after that, you can go back and take some refreshers or take the exam so that you stay up to date. You can offer those services. Becky has put her email in there, which is Becky@OncologySpaSolutions.com for the people who are in the Caribbean or in Canada or in another country and you want to have access to this, but you will have to place the order through her because you'll have to pay some shipping on that. 3 of you are going to win the Olove Tomato Oil, which we've talked about numerous times. This is a $24 value, and all you do is take a photo of you taking this class. Now that you've taken the class, tell us what you think. If you've got more questions for Becky, or if we missed your question, go ahead and put it in your post with your picture and just say, I didn't get this question answered. I'll be, going through the page. Becky will be on the page. We'll make sure that we get those questions answered for you. So take a photo of you, hashtag EC loves Oncology Spa Solutions, and 3 of you are going to win this. Becky, have I missed anything?
No, you did great. And thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for all you do.
I appreciate it. And I really appreciate you doing this class. Guys, we're going to see you next week in the Zoom room every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 o'clock Eastern time. Thanks, Becky. Again, I appreciate it. And we'll see you all soon. Bye, guys.